Tish Ambrose, The Night I Almost Peaked, The Night I Almost Peaked, Tish Ambrose.
Don't worry, it's clean, it's PG. So, have you guys ever had a night when you were a kid where you were so terrified that you hid under the covers, but at the same time you wanted to just take a little peek? Kind of like, you know, a really bad car accident. Well, this happened to me when I was about 9 years old. We lived in Brazil. And my parents had this very small ranch that we would go to on the weekends, you know, for the holidays and summers. And coincidentally, when they got this ranch, it was called Ranch California when they purchased it. And some of my best childhood memories were from time spent at this ranch. Just to give you a visual of what this ranch looked like, it was way different than the ranches here. It was basically this rustic cottage surrounded by jungle, and there was a large clearing in the front, a huge tree with a hammock. We had one horse, one cow, pigs and chickens, and I loved it. I spent the days, you know, climbing trees and exploring the jungle, and the nights we would have this huge bonfire in front of the house. And the locals would come in and they would sit down and chit-chat with us. And they would tell us stories of these legendary local creatures that were in the jungle. And you know, it just seems so magical because all around there was like these little fireflies, you know, and the sound of the cicadas, and it just made their stories way more believable because of this environment. Now our house was just small, very rustic, but my mom made it very inviting, little doilies and things. And it had no ceiling. There was like a roof, and so there was like openings where these little lizards would come in, and they would climb on the walls, and at night I would be afraid they were going to fall in my bed and climb on my face. So I would kind of sleep already a little worried. So one night, it was about 2, maybe 3 a.m., I don't know, it was pitch black. I hear the strangest sound I've ever heard there at the ranch. Scratch, scratch, scratch. And I thought, wow, it sounds like this gigantic creature is rubbing its carcass across the ground in the clearing in the front. And I began to wonder, should I peek? Maybe it's the mula sin cabeza. This is a creature that the locals talk about where his head has been chopped off and fire spews out of his head. Oh, you know, local legend says that the women who coveted the local priests, they would turn into this mule because of those sinful little thoughts they had. Maybe it's out there right now and it's going like this with its hook trying to scare me. The sound continued. I hit again. Maybe it's the Saci Pererê. This is a Brazilian mythological creature. He has a red pointed hat. He hops on one leg. He only has one leg. Black skin. He smokes a pipe, and he has magical powers. He can appear and disappear at will. He's a prankster. I know he's out there, and he wants to get me. So the sound continues, and I listen. Scratch, scratch. I know it's the Curupira. This is a guy, an imp. He has red fiery hair, and he has green skin and green teeth, and he's a prankster. His feet are turned backwards, so he scares the hunters. When you think he's running away, he's really running towards you. He's a prankster too. I bet he's out there dragging a big piece of wood trying to scare me. Well, I tried to peek through the slats of the big wooden shutters that we had. We didn't have glass windows. We had these shutters that opened up, and I went like this. But it was pitch black with darkness beyond the darkness that you have in the city. And I was terrified, so I decided to hide back under the covers. And I fell asleep thinking about all the crazy creatures that could be out there. And, you know, the sound, it was so supernatural that I just couldn't come up with any solution in my head to what it really was. The next day, I come out of my pajama, and as I run out there to the clearing, I'm looking for evidence of this horrible creature. I look around, nothing. I found nothing. No evidence. I was so mad at myself. I said I should have peeked. Probably was something really cool, and I missed it. And I looked around, and I just knew those creatures, those legendary creatures, they were hiding, probably behind one of the trees, making fun of me. Next time, I will peek.